Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Teresa. I am looking at the Colored Raine Neutral Chic palette. I've looked at the other three of the Chic collection and this is the last one that I'm looking at, and it is, as the name suggests, neutral. So neutral isn't usually my vibe, but this is what I've done. So if you want to see the overall look that I made with this and see what I think of the palette, then fantastic, that is the video for you. Do please keep on watching. I know it's seldom that I do a neutral look, but fuck it, we're doing it together. I am taking this Morphe M506 and I'm going into the shade First Kiss. And my goodness, I notice how much my eyelids are aging, because like there are points where I'm attempting to blend and I'm like, why is the brush getting stuck? It's getting stuck in folds of skin, Teresa. That's what's happening. So this is quite an unusual sort of a brown. There's almost like a purpley pinky tinge to it. It's not like a true cool toned brown. So it wasn't exactly what I was hoping for. And initially I kind of struggled with this palette. I've had it for a while now, and I have used it a few times, but it's not exactly the sort of neutral palette I would have necessarily put together for myself, but like it does work pretty well. You can see you get a decent amount of pigment there, but like I said, you can see I struggle a little bit with the folds of my eyelids. If anyone wants to get me a blepharoplasty, you will be much loved and I would appreciate it. But yeah, I mean that's just that bit, nothing major. This is like the quickest, easiest, simplest eye look that I've done in a very long time, but I did something similar-ish for my friend's bridal shower type thing, and I thought it looked nice. I had a few people kind of being like, oh my god, but they were mostly talking, I think, about my base makeup, but there you go. Actually, I just figured out what this shade reminds me of. It reminds me of my under eyes, because it's like the exact same shade as my under eye when I've had fuck all sleep. So there you go. I could use this to make it look like I haven't slept at all, so there you go. I'm now taking the Sigma E36 and I'm going into the shade Satin, which is ironically not a satin, it is a matte. And I think this is quite an interesting one because it isn't really of the same kind of colour family as First Kiss. It's a lot more warm toned. So I thought this was quite an unusual mix of colors to put in. Like they didn't fully kind of correspond to each other, at least not for me, but like these things do look different based upon like somebody's undertones and stuff. Like my friend Daniela, there's like a bronzer or contour that looks great on, like, say, myself and Missa, and then it actually goes grey on her. Like, it's the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So you have to remember that sometimes people's undertones are going to kind of impact this. And also, Colored Raine is a black owned brand, so they are often formulating things with darker skin tones in mind, which, you know, fair. If it doesn't work on me, that's grand, like not a big deal. But obviously just doing this, very complicated, swishy swishy. And now I'm taking this Morphe M562 and I'm going into the shade Naked. See, it's not just, you know, Urban Decay that can trademark the whole naked thing. I do find it so funny because obviously this shade is darker than even my own skin tone, but your look, it's grand. Like I do get it to blend out pretty well, so not a massive concern. They do work pretty well together. This is more like a yellow toned leaning. Like it's really unusual that like the mixture, like we've a yellow toned one, then we've more like a cool toned shade here, and then we've a warm tone. It's very unusual that there's such a mix in terms of the shades, but they do blend together fairly well. Oh my goodness, I did a Cutcrease. Who would have ever thought it? Look, like I said, this is like a super, super simple look. I'm just taking some glitter glue because these are very, very nice shimmers, BT dubs. And I'm just popping it in here just to put the very first shade on. I do think kind of the shimmers they chose, the colours were really strange. Like the shimmers, two of them make sense together, and then this more creamy one, you're like, hey, what's going on here? Although I think that is like legit worth it, like just for that shimmer alone. I'm taking the Zoeva 238, It Is Love, It Is Life, and I'm going into Spoiled. Now this is a very yellow toned gold, but it's so pigmented. Like, look at that. A little goes a long, long way. I was very impressed with this. I actually think from this Cutie collection, like, the mattes are fine, there's nothing wrong with them. However, the thing that they have done the best out of all 4 of these palettes is their shimmer formula. Like, I think they are gorgeous, and I've used a few of them as like glowy blush toppers, as like highlighters, and they are phenomenal. I really enjoy that. And now I'm taking more of the glitter glue again, just to be safe. Still annoyed that Too Faced don't do that glitter glue anymore. But there you go. And I'm just whacking that on. I know it's a very imprecise sort of a process, but sure, look, it's grand. And popping that there. Now, this, I believe, in my opinion, is a crazy beautiful shimmer. Taking the Zoeva 238 and I'm going into the shade Table for Two. This is stunning. It has sort of like these greeny flecks almost in it at certain points, and I am obsessed with this. I would use this as a highlighter. I'm not going to use it as a highlighter today because I'm testing foundation, and I want to use kind of established ones, but look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to be disgusting and go in with my finger, because why not? And just pop that there. It's such a beautiful shimmer. I mean, this is just a really lazy look. I'm using my Morphe M562 and I'm taking it dry, and I'm just going to go between these 2 shades. Now, because of the glitter glue, they don't really budge that much, but I am attempting to kind of get them to swish together, and it does help a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the shade Spoiled, which is that yellowy gold, and just kind of bring that out a little bit just so it meshes a little bit more. There we go. See, makes it a little bit more kind of gradual. And then I'm just taking like a little sort of like a brow brush, and I'm going into the shade First Kiss again. I'm like, all I'm doing is just kind of putting it along here and bringing it in there, just to kind of give a little bit of a line. I know it's very imprecise and very slapdash, but sure, look, that's what I do over here. And I think again, once you've kind of put on that line, it does kind of show almost the purple tone to it. It's really quite unusual. And then I'm taking another Morphe M562 and I'm just gonna brush it up into the shimmers, just to kind of make it a little bit less harsh. But like I said, this is just a ridiculously easy look. I'm using my Zoeva 225 because it's love, it's life. And I'm going into First Kiss, and I'm just taking a smack of that and just popping that there and working it in towards where the shimmer is, because it's a lazy look. And in case you're wondering about the liner that I have on the other eye, I'm sure you will be shocked to find that it is the Artitude Cosmetics Split It liner palette. I mean, I am obsessed with that palette. I use it a frightening amount. Easily one of my favourite like liners at this point. Yeah, just kind of popping that there, bringing it a little bit down towards the lash line and just blending it in there. And then I'm just taking my Melt Meshla brush and I'm going into the shade Satin and literally just kind of brushing that around here and down here to kind of make it a little bit of a softer transition, so it isn't as harsh. But you can see that's a lot more kind of warm toned and it brings a bit more warmth back into it. And then finally using the Meshla again and going into the shade Naked. And I'm just kind of popping that above there and blending lazily because I'm tired and it's a Sunday, and if I don't get to rest today, then when do I get to rest? Never. Anyways, yeah, you can see it's all kind of blended fairly well. I can't be bothered doing much more than that. Like I said, it is a lazy look. I'm going to clean the rest of it up, finish my face, and I will come back and show you what it all looks like together. I'm back and I can't stop wearing a red lip. I can't help it. Don't fucking hate me. Anyways, it's a super basic eye look, but obviously, I mean, it's neutral. what else was I going to do? I'll zoom you in now so you can see what it looks like all together. And I somehow refrained from gluing things onto myself with the exception of the lashes. I think that the mixture between the shimmers of having like quite a cool toned and then quite a warm gold tone is really unusual, and it doesn't make a massive amount of sense to me, but I think it works okay-ish. So what do I think of the palette? I think it's a really unusual mix of neutrals. Like, you've very kind of cool purpley tone, quite a warm, and then like a yellowy based one, at least on my skin tone. Like I said, I'm a ghost. And I think kind of the mix here is quite unusual as well. Like, these don't, I don't 100% get it. Did I think it performed well? Yes, it did. It all blended pretty well. I did find when I was using this with another palette, it didn't blend that well, and I was using another color drain. So I think this is more kind of like in isolation, which is fine. I think anyone who would like this would probably be using it in isolation. I'm just a little bit confused by the color combinations. I love their shimmers. The mattes are fine, they're grand, they work perfectly, but like the shimmers are like really where it's at. Like, I am totally in love with that. I think what Color Drain really should do is just take all of the shimmers from their like pretty cute collection or chic collection or whatever it is and just put it into one big palette. I would enjoy that. But would I necessarily buy this again? No. And it's not because it's a bad palette, but it's just because I don't really do neutral that often. I feel really weird in this. I feel like I'm not me, with the exception of the red lip. Like, I'm just like, oh, this is very strange. But it's fine. It's grand. I would probably give this, if I was being honest, for me, like a 5 out of 10. I wouldn't repurchase it. It wouldn't be my thing, but it does perform well. If we look at performance, etc., I would actually give this maybe an 8 out of 10. I think the color story is a bit weird. So, like, as in like the mixture of the cool and the warm. So I would say more like a 7 out of 10. So do with that what you will. That's a really pointless amount of information. You're welcome. Anyways, that is it. That is the end of the video. Do please like, comment and subscribe, because quite frankly, that is just polite. And do please share, because sharing is caring, unless of course it's an STD, in which case, you know, wrap it up. Don't be gross. But that's it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.